Hi, welcome to my channel Art Event. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get a Vroid model into VRchat specifically for Quest. Now, I realized that my last tutorial was somewhat long, confusing, and I was trying to show you how to get both PC and Quest versions into VRchat simultaneously, as well as make it VRchat Quest and PC compatible. So I decided to focus more just specifically on the Quest side with a PC version counterpart tutorial later in the near future. With that said, I'm gonna assume you are somewhat new to creating avatar for VRchat, and I will be teaching this as if you were somewhat new. So with that said, the first thing you will need to do is go ahead and download VRchat on your PC or on your VR headset, and then play VRchat regularly. Once you have done this over a good amount of time, you will be able to create avatars in World. Once you have that ability, you will be able to go on your PC, log on to vrchat.com with your account, and then you will have access to this download tab. This gives you access to VRchat SDK 2, which was for old avatars, and then you also have access to VRchat SDK 3, which is for new avatars, and then World. So you want to go ahead and download the VRchat SDK 3 avatars, and then you want to go ahead and get Unity. So there's a specific version of Unity, so go ahead and click this. This brings you to this page right here. This talks about the SDK. You can go read this on your own time. Go ahead and click current version of Unity. This brings you to this next page over here. This is the current version of Unity 2018.4.20F1. Go ahead and click this and then download it. There will be a newer version of Unity later on. At this time of the tutorial, we are using the 2018.4. They strongly recommend getting Unity Hub, which makes managing multiple versions of Unity much easier. So I recommend getting this. You don't have to, but regardless, you need this version of Unity at this time. Here's somewhat description of Unity Hub, and then you will also need to go to booth.pm, make an account, look up VRM converter for VRchat, and download this. It is absolutely free. So what this is a converter for VRchat, and you need this because Vroid only exports VRM files, so you will need to download this. Next, you will also need to go ahead and go to vroid.com, scroll all the way down, and then you can click and download your Vroid Studio, and then you will also need to have access to Photoshop. If you do not have access to Photoshop, a free alternative, which is a Photoshop equivalent, is Krita. You can also use Paint or anything else that you can get your hands on, but I recommend Krita or Photoshop. Once Vroid Studio is opened up, you will go ahead and select a sample model, or you will go ahead and start from scratch and create your own avatar. I am using this model right here. Now the model I'm using is my own model that I made from scratch, so you will probably end up customizing or starting with one of the samples. You can go ahead and go to the face editor, hair editor, body editor, clothing editor, or general editor, and go ahead and redesign or edit your avatar. This tutorial is not going to go into designing the avatar. There are plenty tutorials out there on how to do this. My tutorial is only specifically showing you how to get your model into VRchat specifically for Quest. Once you go ahead and look up or research how to do that, come back to this point in the video. So once you have your model ready to go, you'll be on face editor. You'll need to click on texture. So before I get into anything, I need to explain something about Quest. So Quest specifically has some limitations, and it does not render transparency for avatar because it uses only certain shaders. What does this mean for your Vroid model? Well, your Vroid model has and uses transparency on certain facial features, so this causes issues, and because of that we need to do some fixes. Now, to illustrate these issues, I'm going to go onto the eye line, and I will recreate some of these issues so you can visually understand what I'm talking about. You don't need to follow this, you just need to realize what I'm saying. So I'm clicking on default image. This changes the image that I'm on. I am only going to click on layer because that's empty, and I am clicking over here, and I am just randomly coloring this in so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the eyeline on your avatar, and because this is an image that is on a mesh and Quest does not render transparency, this is what you would see in Quest. And this is basically the eyeline mesh. Now, if you don't know what a mesh is 3D geometry or a 3D modeled object that you can apply textures to. So this transparency issue will be true for the eyeline, eyelashes, eyebrows, irises, and eye highlights. So we don't want this to show up for Quest, so what we need to do is to export a couple things and then fix it in Photoshop. So before I do that, I also want to show you something important on the eyes. So I am clicking on eyes, default image, and then layer. You don't have to follow this part again, this is just to illustrate what happens. I am moving the default image up so it's on top. So like I said about meshes, is that it's just somewhat of a plane for some of the facial features, and the image is on that plane. And because the image aren't rendered with transparency on Quest, this is what you would see. You would see, in general, you would see a big bold black line around the eyes, and to me this would look ugly and you don't want, so you are going to need to fix this. And like I said, we're going to export some of these images out. So I'm going to go ahead and export the face skin. So I clicked on face skin, default image, right click, and then export. I have a big folder on my desktop and I organized it in this way: Photoshop, Unity, the other assets for that we also downloaded, and then my Vroid files. I'm putting this in Photoshop because I'm going to fix this in Photoshop. I've already gone ahead and have a face original. You're going to go ahead and export and save this. I'm just overwriting mine just because. Over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this a couple times because I need different ones for different reasons. You will just have a third one as a backup, and I'm toggling the backup off. You will go over to the eyeline, eyelashes, eyebrows, irises, and you will export each one of these out. So you will do the same thing, right click on default image and then export. I am calling this eyeline, and the rest you will do the same and so forth. Okay, so once you have your eyeline, eyelashes, eyebrows, irises, and face skin exported, you will export an additional face texture out, but we're going to do something to it before we export. So make sure you go ahead and click on the one that you're going to edit. And what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, make sure the circle is somewhat small, and make sure you have mirror on. This is basically just symmetry, so you do everything symmetrical. And what you're going to do here is you're going to just draw on the face like so, and you're just going to mark up the general area of where your facial features are. So keep in mind, I am not trying to make this perfect. I am just trying to somewhat illustrate where these facial features are. You can also draw on the actual image itself, probably a little bit easier, but we just need to figure out where things are. Once you're done with that, you want to go ahead and export this out. I call it markup or face markup. Once that is done, I just toggle it off, and then I will minimize this, and then you will go ahead and open up your Photoshop. And once Photoshop is open, you're going to click open, and then you just go over to where your original face is, click original face, and then you're going to go ahead and click and drag your face markup in the gray area, click enter. Change this to somewhere around 20%, 23%, and then you're going to go ahead and click and drag your eyeline, click enter, click erase tool, click OK, erase that out, make sure you're still on eyeline, edit, transform, scale, Control plus, Control plus again. Move this to the side. And then you're going to scale this down to the size you need. And I'm just going to move this down a bit. Scale it a little bit more, or however you feel you should be. That's about right. I'm hitting enter. And then make sure you're still clicked on it. Edit, transform, warp. And then you can just edit this and move it around however you want. For tutorial purposes, I am not trying to make this perfect. I'm just trying to get the point across. And let's say that's good for tutorial purposes. I'm going Control 0, and I am going to do the same thing for the rest. Okay, so once you are done with one side, I'm going to go ahead and click off the markup. Make sure I click on one and then shift click the rest. Click and drag a new group folder. Open this up, make sure everything is selected. Click and drag new layer. There should be a copy. Make sure you select everything. And then make sure you're on Move Tool. And then click and then shift and slide everything over. And then go to Edit, Transform, Horizontal Flip. And then make sure everything is still selected. Click, shift, and then kind of get it to how it's supposed to be. Something like that. And then there you go. File, save as. I'll just leave it as is, original face, PSD. And then I will save a PNG, so we have that as an image. And I'm going to call it face fix instead of face original. Oops. Alright. And then if you want to change the color, let's say your hair is like yellow or blue or something, what you can do is make sure you're selected on one of these or all of these. Go to Image, Adjustments, Color Lookup, and you can click any one of these and it should change the color. Let's go with Midnight Light. Yes, okay, so Midnight Light changed it to a bluish color. I have preview on. This would be good for blue colors. If you like more of a yellow color, I think Edgy Umber. Yeah, so you can go ahead and change the color to however you need. I'm going to cancel this. You can also use any of the other adjustments here to get the colors that you want. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and save. You're going to also open up a separate Photoshop file for the eyes. This is going to be a lot simpler. What you're going to need to do is just make a new layer. Go over to the paint bucket, make sure you're on white, and then make sure you're on the second layer, and then just dump the paint. Click and drag this on top. Now you're going to File, Save As, name it whatever you want. I'm calling it iFix, and that's just the Photoshop file. And now I'm saving a PNG, and it's already going to save it as iFix in the location where I saved everything. And then I'm clicking this off because I need this plain white as 2. And I'm saving this as PNG, and I'm calling this white. I will tell you in a second why you need this. So go ahead and close down your Photoshop, open back up Vroid, and what you're going to do before you import some things back in is you're going to go to your eye line, click on the default image, right click, toggle visibility off. make sure you are on default image or it will not go off. You'll do the same thing for the rest. Eyelashes, eyeline, eyebrows, okay. And then for the eye highlights, toggle that off and make sure you're clicked on default image or else it won't go off. And now that you have everything toggled off, your avatar should look like this. That's okay because we're going to fix that. Go on whatever default image that you have available left, or you can just make a new layer. I'm right clicking one of the ones that I have spared. So I'm going to go ahead and import, and I'm importing face fix. Make sure you clicked on this, and voila, your facial features are now on the actual face skin. Now you're going to need to fix something with the eyes. So go on to irises, click on default image. These checkers here indicate that it has transparency here. What you're going to do is you can do two things. One thing you can do for the transparency issue that I mentioned earlier about the black line around the eyes is you will need to this is just an example of what you need to do. These dots indicate how far and how big the black area will be if you don't do anything. And this is how big you need to make the eyes to cover that up. So this is just to illustrate what you can do to fix that. You can do this, but for me, I have a better alternative, and that is to import the one I had you fix in Photoshop. So as you can see, this is all white now instead of transparent. Go ahead and close irises and then go to this one right here. This is basically the white of the eye. Go ahead and click on default image and then import, find the white that we made with Photoshop, click that. And now, even though this is a separate mesh right here and this background is a different mesh, you won't be able to really tell anymore. There's like no gradient on it, and in Quest you won't really be able to tell because it's all one color layered on top of each other. So with this face fix, there's one other fix you need to do, and click on hair editor, and on hair editor there should be something called a base hair. I clicked on this to see this yellow outline. On your model there is a mesh that is outlined by the yellow line here, and this is just basically a flat mesh to indicate where this image is, and this is just a based hair. You don't really need it, and if you leave it on you will get black area right here in Quest. So what you need to do is just disable this. That goes away, it went bye-bye. Now what you need to do is go over to camera exporter, and then once you're on camera exporter, go to exports. Now you need to go over to polygon reduction, delete transparent meshes. This is going to delete all the disabled things that we had turned off, such as the original meshes for the eyes and other facial features. For you, you're going to go ahead and click this, and this is going to bring down your polygons, which is how many polygons are on your entire model. Is going to bring it down by like 3,000. As you can see, this went down quite a bit. For me, I am not going to check this, and the reason why is because I have these kind of things here. For me, I use the hair to kind of make this, and that was kind of my design choice. In Unity, if I click this, these will become like transparent and it won't look the way I intended them to look. You don't have this, so go ahead and click this. What this does, it kind of flattens the hair geometry a bit, so I don't want that, so I'm unchecking it. But for you, I recommend clicking this. Now here, you're going to click and drag body all the way over here. This just reduces the polygons on your model a little bit, so it went down almost like 2,000 polygons. Face, you're probably going to go like around halfway, maybe like 62-ish. And then hair, you're just going to go a little bit, not so much, but just enough to get some of the geometry down where it still looks good too. And then I'm going to go down to material reduction. Under materials, you're going to go to 2. Now right here is the resolution of the images on your model. I am keeping mine high because I have tattoos on the skin. I recommend you probably go down to this lower resolution if you don't have tattoos, but for me, I'm keeping it high just to show you what happens. Kind of went blurry a little bit, so I am going to keep mine high, even though I strongly recommend against it. And then with that said, I'm going to go ahead and export my model. I am not doing clothing here. The only clothing my model really has are just the shoes, and you can see that really doesn't do much. And the reason my model doesn't really have clothes is because all the textures and clothing that she has on are basically just images on top of the body skin, the same way that I did the facial features. Alright, so go ahead and export, fill these two areas in, click OK, ignore everything else, and then I am saving this over here in my Vroid folder, and I am just calling it Quest. I kind of already had a file there, but I'm overwriting it. Now you're going to go ahead and open up Unity. For me, I have Unity Hub. And then with Unity Hub, you want to go ahead and click New. And actually before that, you want to make sure you have the right version. And then click New. Title your project whatever you like. Quest Model. And then I'm going to call it 3.0 so I know what it is. And then you're going to pick a location for this. For me, I am going to make a new folder and I'm calling it Quest Model 3.0. You title it whatever you want. And then select the folder, create, and then I will come back to you when Unity is loaded up. Okay, so once Unity is opened up, you're going to go to the two assets that I told you to download, the VRchat SDK 3 and then the VRM converter for VRchat. You're going to click both of these and then drag these individually right here. I will come back to you when this is done. When it pops up like this, just go ahead and import. Okay, so once both of them are imported, you will need to go over here to File. And before that, how you know this imported correctly is you see VRchat SDK and then these two additional tabs on top. And that's how you know this is imported correctly. So before you click on anything, you need to go to File, Build Settings, and you will see from PC right here, the current build is on PC. You need to switch this to Android because Quest is Android, and that's what you're building it to. Click on Android, switch platform. This will take a bit, so I will come back to you. Okay, once this is done, you will see the little Unity icon on Android, and now you can have the ability to publish to Quest. Keep in mind you can also do this if you click on this tab right here. However, if you switch it in here from PC to Android, it might cause bugs and or issues. So I recommend just fixing it under File and then click on Build Settings and do it this way, so you won't get those issues. Go ahead and exit out of this. Now the first thing you're going to do is click on VRM, import, and then find the location where your VRM file is. It's right here. Click open, save. Okay, so once that's done, you'll be able to see a file down here. Go ahead and click that, and then go back to VRM, duplicate and convert for VRchat. This window pops up. Click for Quest, duplicate and convert, save, click OK. There should be another one here, but it also just puts it in the scene for you. And just quick controls, middle mouse scrolls in, right click makes you kind of look around, the middle mouse and alt kind of makes you pan, and then alt and regular left click makes you orbit. So I'm scrolling in to see this model. Make sure you click on Quest. Now keep in mind that when this got imported, you don't have to really change anything here. Everything should be fine. So I'm clicking over here because there's actually one thing that you do have to change. So click on this, click body, and then over here in the inspector, there's two things over here. These are the two materials that we changed from 12 to 2 in Vroid Studio. So you want to go ahead and click this. And then because Quest only supports certain shaders, you will only be able to select from the VRchat selection right here, specifically on mobile, and then either pick matcap lit or toon lit. Either one is fine. And as you can see in the scene, the face kind of changed the color. So you want to do the same one for this, VRchat, mobile, matcap lit. The model kind of changed color a little bit. This is what your model would look like in Quest. Now, as you can see, I kind of zoomed in a little bit on the face, and it looks like it's going to be okay. Everything looks good. I like my avatars a certain height. You can go over here to transform, and you can change this one to any size you want. You can do, let's say, 0.8. I'm going to click tab, 0.8, tab, 0.8. This just kind of scaled my avatar down just a little bit, and when you do this and you want to scale it to a different size, you have to make sure that you see this little gray ball right here. That's this thing right here. This is the descriptor. You need to make sure this matches up with the eye or eyes of your avatar. So I'm going to scroll this down, and I am just going to position it somewhere in between the eyes. Oops. See this little ball? You want it right somewhere where the eyes are. This is going to be where you look on your actual avatar in VR. Make sure you click return so it stays there, and that's pretty much it. Keep in mind, like I said, this VRM converter pretty much did everything for you. You can adjust the eye look with these two selections here. There's a bunch of other things too you can adjust, but I'm not going to get into that. Lip sync is just like how your mouth moves and stuff, and when you speak, you really don't have to change this. It's already done for you. So now what you're going to do is go to VRchat SDK, show control panel, sign into your VRchat account. So once you're signed in, the page will turn like this. Make sure you're on Builder. Now there's going to be some issues here. Right here under polygons, it says our avatar is 15,526, and it says it wants it to be 10,000. Recommended 7,500, but it should be okay because down here, build in publish for Android is black, which means it's clickable, so that means it should be okay. Everything else looks fine, so I'm going to go ahead and click this. It's going to take a second, so I will come back to you when something happens. Okay, so after clicking build and publish, this screen should pop up. You can go ahead and move this out of the way. Don't uncheck this or exit out. You want to go ahead and name your avatar. I'm calling this Quest Model 3.0, and then you can click checkmark any of these warnings, however your model is. You can change the sharing to private or public, and then checkmark this box. Now before I do so, because I've scaled the model a little bit, this picture isn't the way I want it to be, so do not unplay this or click this. This screen automatically went from scene to game when we click build and publish, so I'm going back to scene. Don't worry, we're not going to mess anything up. I'm going to scroll out, and because we click build and publish, it put a camera here. That's what this little icon is. You want to go ahead and click this, or there it goes. And this is a little preview. You just want to make this go up a bit. Maybe just go in so you can see your avatar like that. Go back to game, and then now you can see your little avatar picture. So go ahead and upload, and I will come back to you when this is complete. Okay, so the model is completely uploaded to VRchat Quest. I will come back to you and I will see how the model is in Quest. Alright, so now that we're in VRchat on the Quest, this is my model. You might have something different. Overall, the model came out fairly good. The tattoos, are somewhat visible, especially the one on the neck. The one on the other arm, it looks really good. If you get really close, if you walk far away, it just kind of goes blurry. The body kind of went down in quality. You can kind of tell on the hands a little bit, especially with like the thumb. But I mean, that's okay. It's a Quest model, so it's not supposed to be the best quality. It still looks fairly decent though. The hair looks really good. The facial features, because we went down on polygon count on the face. I think that kind of made the quality of the images go down a little bit, but I mean overall pretty good. The eyes actually look really good, considering we did the fix for this, which was to put a white background behind the irises and then make the white of the eye the same color white, so you can't really tell. I mean, you can kind of tell when you look sideways and stuff, but it's hardly noticeable, and I don't think people would really notice unless they were actually looking for it. But in my opinion, I think this is a better alternative than to make the eyes oversized. I mean, it looks a lot cleaner in my opinion. I'm going to show you the information on the model so you can see that this is a Quest model. There we go. So this is the one I clicked on. As you can see, it is a Quest model because it's got the little green Quest icon. And then I'm going to go to Avatar stats, and I'll show you that it is 15,000. I suppose they kind of had the limit increased to 20,000, which was double than what it was supposed to be, but overall, you know, it's fairly decent optimized avatar if you do say so myself. You know, we got 2 material slots out of the 4 that they allow for Quest. The polygon limit is still under 20,000, which I think was the only reason we were able to get this onto Quest. Anyways, I will show you one thing that I really like about this workflow is that you keep the facial expression. So I'll show you real quick. So those facial expressions, you know, you don't have to do anything when you use the VRM converter. It does everything for you. Normally you would have to bring your model into Blender and then from Blender into Unity, and then you have to do everything else manually. There is only one issue with this workflow, and that is your legs will have a crossing issue. Let me see. So if you move down your model and you crouch or get low, your legs will cross like that. It has something to do with the spacing of the legs. With this workflow, you know, you're gonna get this issue. The only way to fix it is to put your model into Blender, which uses a completely different workflow. So I was told that this probably would be fixed in future updates. But yeah, you probably have to put this into Blender and use a different workflow if you don't want the leg crossing issues. I mean, but overall, you know, you get a good, you know, model for Quest. Okay, so I just checked out the model in Quest, and like I said in the demonstration of the model in Quest, there is a leg crossing issue. This workflow, however, you will get that leg crossing issue. The only way to fix that is to use a different kind of workflow, and what you need to do is you need to put your model into Blender before putting it into Unity, and then what you would need to do is to fix the leg crossing issue, you need to space the legs out and then make them bend a little bit. I probably will have an image or a somewhat of a picture to show you what I mean, but with that said, that is a different kind of workflow, and it requires you to do things a little bit different. So yeah, the leg crossing issue is the only issue with this workflow. I'll probably make another tutorial on how to follow and fix the leg crossing issue by putting your model into Blender and whatnot. Anyways, with that said, I hope that this tutorial was a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more easier, clear, concise, and I hope you guys find it a lot better than my last tutorial. I will be making a PC counterpart to this sometime in the near future. So like, comment, subscribe, or dislike. Tell me what you thought was good or bad. Alright, and that concludes this video. So peace out.